Welcome back to Wealth Mavericks, the podcast where we help doctors unlock the secrets to building generational wealth. And today, we're talking about having a military mindset to achieve your goals. Moving from passive participation to taking full ownership and even leadership of your plan.
Time is of the essence, regardless of where you are. With every month that passes, with every year that passes, you're missing opportunities to compound wealth building.
Welcome back to the podcast. We're so glad you're here. Today, I'm joined by Eric Lescarbeau, who spent over 20 years in the Air Force, leading training and leadership programs, and now helps our members turn tax strategies into real wealth as one of our trusted coaches here at Terra Firma. Eric, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Erin. It's great to be here with you.
Love to see you. So this episode is for you if you know that you could and should be doing more to lower that high tax bill, but you've been stuck in indecision or you're just waiting for the right time. You're doing your research, you're weighing all of your options, or maybe you're telling yourself, oh, I'll get to it when life slows down. But what we know is that waiting is exactly what is keeping you from reaching your goals and reaching financial freedom. So since joining us at Terra Firma, Eric, you have had a front row seat to this, to the challenges that high income earners face, not, of course, because they lack the opportunities, but because they have so many options and they hesitate, overthink, and often just delay taking any action at all. And you've become such an asset to our team really quickly, largely because of who you are and how you show up. You bring this calm sense of confidence and purpose to every conversation. And I think a lot of that comes from your experience in the military. And so now you're working with members, helping them go from this place of hesitation and confusion to taking action and having confidence. So today we are going to talk about 3 mindset shifts that our members can take, or our listeners can take, to help them achieve their goals. And the first is being decisive. Successful people are decision makers. So Eric, you've had a lot of these conversations already, and this is something you see a lot. People know they need to make a change, but they just aren't pulling the trigger. So why do you think that is? What do you think is holding people back from making a change they know they need to make?
Yeah, and thinking about this question, I think it could be a number of ways to look at it depending on the person. But I think some of the things that you see more often than not, especially with high earning doctors and dentists and other, professionals that are significantly successful in their careers, paralysis by analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So they never feel like they have enough information to quite make the leap into trusting that they have enough information to make the decision to move forward, to get an idea of how things can be so much better for them if they trust themselves to know when it's the right time to pull the trigger and move forward with anything really, but especially when we're talking about finances and tax strategies and financial planning and building wealth. Time is of the essence, regardless of where you are. I mean, later in your career, obviously, it's a little bit more time sensitive, but with every day that passes, with every month that passes, with every year that passes, you're missing opportunities to transfer savings into wealth or even just continue to compound wealth building. And we got a lot of training and talked a lot about making decisions in the military. And it's really important. Now, I was fortunate enough never to be in a combat situation, but we all take the same training at certain times and at certain levels. And there's just times where you have to take the information that you have and you have to move forward with the decision. You have to trust that you're going to do what's right for you and for your people, and you just have to do it. And I think it's easy to sit back where things are comfortable, where you know where you're at. Maybe there's not enough pain. Maybe that pain isn't intense enough for you to say, now's a good time for me to change something up or to do something different. But in my conversations, with people at Terra Firma, whether it's prospective members or people that have moved forward in membership, they're reaching out for a reason and for a purpose. They obviously see the need for a change. And it's interesting to see those that are like ready to roll right away. It's like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And I know this is going to be fantastic. Others, they take a little bit more time to decide to move forward, but ultimately do. And there's some others who just continue to either wait for more information, or maybe they're waiting for the pain to get bad enough, or maybe they need a reminder of how much their taxes are going to cost them in 2026 when they're looking back on 2025.
Yeah.
You know, it's a number of things. So it's a crapshoot, but I think more often than not, we're either looking for more information, which we don't necessarily need, or we don't trust ourselves enough to make the leap of faith required to say, hey, this is worth investigating further and finding out more about. What can Terra Firma do for me, not only to help me strategize with tax savings, but help me build generational wealth for me and my family?
Yeah. And how much information is enough? Like, there's no point for people. And no is a decision too. And that is not a decision we often get, right? Like, we get heck yes, or we get, oh, I'm going to think about it and do a little more due diligence. And then it becomes a yes. Or it's I'm just going to sit here. Maybe the pain isn't bad enough, but there is discomfort there. So that leads to our second mindset shift, actually, which is moving from that emotion and that needing willpower to do something different to discipline, to just having discipline because you know deep down that there is something that isn't right. And so often people will come to us and they are feeling a lot of emotion. They're feeling frustrated. They're feeling angry. They use such colorful language when it comes to this, like, the bleeding has to stop. I am despondent. Like, just, I am crushed. And it's like, we feel that, we understand. And so they're really hyped up in that moment to do something about it. But then as they, have conversations and it comes to following through, they don't, because that emotion and that willpower has subsided. But of course, the circumstances haven't changed. They have changed, in that moment. So you've seen this. They want it, but the actual taking action is the hard part. So what's the difference between someone who relies on motivation or willpower versus someone who has discipline?
It's funny you bring it up that way, because one of my favorite books, and for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the author, which is embarrassing, but it's Willpower Doesn't Work. And it's all about removing the things that cause you trouble or cause you problems, whether it's chocolate or soda or whatever it is that you're trying to give up.
Yeah.
And going deeper into the conversation and the thought that if you remove that, whatever it is you're trying to get rid of or trying to quit, or, then it's easier to not do it. But that's easier said than done. Like, a lot of times we're not the only people living in our home. My wife buys candy all the time and she doesn't eat it. I eat the candy. Well, I had to figure out some willpower, but willpower doesn't always work. And discipline, I think, is so important, especially for our doctors that are members, not even just doctors that are members, medical professionals, doctors and dentists in general. They already have exemplified tremendous discipline to go through education, to go through residency, to get qualified, to do all the things that they do, to stay qualified, to serve in their profession, to serve in their communities, to take care of their patients, to show up to work each and every day, to continue to study and research and find the best ways to treat their patients. They have the discipline. It's a matter of translating that discipline into, I guess, your personal side of your life and trusting that you know what is best for you and for your family now and in the future. And so discipline is where you get started. Discipline's important in anything. It requires discipline to get up in the morning and go to the gym. It takes discipline to go to work every day and be on time. It takes discipline to do so many things in our lives. So discipline is where it all starts. And the first thing that you get taught, whether it's basic training or officer training school, is discipline and how to be disciplined and to be successful in the military, because discipline can be life or death situations when you're serving your country and you're in conflicts. So discipline's very important. There can't be a time where you're waiting on an order to do something because life or death could be at stake, right?
Yeah.
So, and our docs, some of them are in that situation. They're making decisions in the moment that have to be done quickly, or something bad could happen. Or if they make the right decision, something good happens, right? So discipline is the foundation of any type of success. And our prospective members and our members, they already have exemplified discipline. So trusting, kind of like we talked about in the first question, trusting yourselves that you have enough information to make the decision and being disciplined enough to get started on the right path. And then we're here to help with the consistency so that it becomes a habit. So we do the tax strategization and we get you started. And then we move that money into assets that are helping you build wealth and helping you find and reach those monetary goals that you have. And it's all a process. And the one thing that I loved about the military is the systems and the processes. Terra Firma, systems and processes. It's on repeat, right? Things change, investments change, opportunities change, but the structure and the basics of it, it stays the same, and it's on repeat, rinse and repeat, year after year. Save on taxes as much as we can, reinvest those tax savings into assets and build wealth.
It's so fun what we get to do. And that's a great point. I was going to say, what helps make discipline easier is having a plan. It's like, it's a lot easier to go to the gym in the morning when you have your clothes laid out and you know exactly the workout you're going to do when you get there. And of course, in the beginning, when you haven't done this before or you don't know what's coming next, it's way harder. But once the path is paved, it becomes easier and easier. I get up, I make my bed, I report for duty, I know what's coming next. And I think that's what's so awesome about this membership, that we try to convey very clearly in our discovery process is, hey, we've got this whole path laid out. It's not cookie cutter because everyone's situation is so different and it depends on what you have, what you've already done, what your specific goals are. We're going to tailor that to you. But when it comes down to the tools in our toolbox and the processes we take, those are laid out for you. So we help you have that discipline because we know that pain or that emotion is fleeting. Like we're human, but it comes down to the fundamental truth of, I see people out there doing this differently. Why am I still paying? I mean, I talked to a guy yesterday, his tax bill was almost $400,000. He doesn't even make $1 million a year. Like, it's almost a half of his pay because of where he lives. And it's like, that's criminal at this point. And if you don't do something about it, this frustration is just going to repeat and repeat. So we do help you have that discipline in our membership. So the third mindset shift is this moving from passive participation to taking full ownership and even leadership of your plan. We hear often, well, my CPA doesn't do these things for me, or I just need to find the right CPA or the right financial advisor. But they still have a tax problem. And the reason is there's no one person who can do all of this for you. The reality is it takes more than one person to create this cohesive and effective plan. And so that is why we do things so differently here. It is harder to coordinate a whole team and a whole holistic plan, but that is what people need. And so we say often, if you want different results, you have to do something different. And it really begins with the mindset shift of like, I'm not going to set it and forget it, meet with my person once a year. No, if you truly want the results, just like showing up at the gym, you have to show up each month. You have to play an active role in the planning. So give me your thoughts on this. What differences do you see in people who take that kind of responsibility versus those who just sit back and think, oh, someone else will handle it and I'll deal with it?
Yeah. You know, it's it's interesting in having conversations with so many different people and so many different personalities and kind of the mindset of where they're at, where they want to be, and how they think they need to get there. And you're right. Almost every conversation starts with my CPA, while great at what they do,
Mm-hmm.
isn't I've outgrown them. I need more guidance. I need more direction. I know I need to change something, but I haven't quite figured out how to do that. Maybe we have people that come to us that have done tons of research on their own. They have ideas. They know all these things they could potentially do, but how do I figure it all out? How do I put it all together? I need someone to help me. I need someone to guide me.
Mm-hmm.
And leadership is not only important in their profession, it's also important in their personal lives. So, and that's true for anyone. That's true for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're a mother, a father, you're widowed, you're married, you're not married, you're single, it doesn't matter. There's a certain level of leadership that kind of goes back to discipline and consistency, and everything kind of ties together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And leadership is so valuable regardless of how large your leadership role is or how small the leader. Maybe you're just a leader of yourself. You're one, you're only, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're working with patients, they're looking to you for leadership. All of our members and prospective members, they have leadership skills. They are in leadership positions, regardless of whether or not they have practices or they're practice owners, or they're working at a hospital and just feel like I'm just kind of on my own. They're in leadership positions. People look to them for guidance and direction. The medical staff, they're listening to them for orders and direction as to what they should do, when they should do it.
Mm-hmm.
So they have all of these things in there. I think our job, which I love, one of the things that I love about Terra Firma and this membership is the opportunity to coach our members on a regular basis. And we talk about consistency. We are there to help them with the consistency, with
Mm-hmm.
regular touch points and regular communication opportunities so that they don't have to try and figure it out on their own. They're not just meeting with us once a year to figure out what happened this year or what we're going to do next year. We're meeting monthly with our members to help guide them and coach them, not only in financial wealth building and tax strategies, but caring about them and their families in a holistic view
Yeah.
is unbelievable. Like, how many other firms similar to us do that sort of thing? None, or not that many.
Right.
Right. So it's easy to wake up each and every day and get excited about the conversations that you're going to have, whether it's with a
Yeah.
current member or someone that you think would be a good fit for membership, because we know the end from the beginning. So we have to help them see the end from the beginning and show them and teach them and guide them as to how we're going to get there and what it looks like for them. So, I know leadership was part of your question. What was the other part? Because I feel like I'm leaving some of it
No,
out.
it's great. It's taking ownership too. And we talked about this. I talked about this on a previous podcast recently with Lori, how leadership starts with you. You can't necessarily force people to follow you, but when you are taking ownership and leadership of yourself, which is what we help you do once you're in our membership with the 5 tenths coaching and all of that, it really is not just tax savings, but it's this whole mindset shift, which is why we try to talk about these mindset things on the podcast too, even before you're a member. When you're taking leadership, it's a place of, you're taking a place of power. And that's what we want to help you do. You are not a victim. And in this case, a victim of high taxes. Like, people will come in and you can see that mentality of like, well, this is just the way it is. Like, there's nothing legal. Well, if that was the case, how are so many people doing it? I say that in one of our ad videos. It's like, how are so many of your peers paying less than you? How are so many of the super wealthy paying so much less than you? Like, it's not some secret or scam. You just have to know the rules of the game. And so step into that place of empowerment, take ownership, realize that it's not inevitable and you can do something about it, but it's going to take some self-leadership and action taking to make it happen. So,
Yeah. I think the other thing that really is fantastic for prospective members is the discovery process and getting an opportunity to learn about us a little bit more, especially those that are a little bit more skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
They get to spend time with us, talk about their values and their goals, we can show them how much we care for them as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get to see specifically what you're going to do for me as far as tax planning and strategies and investment strategies and what those look like before they have to make a commitment.
Yeah.
So those are just a couple of things. And you and Joe kind of talked about this a couple weeks ago, but an abundance mindset is very important and valuable, or it isn't going to work
It is.
with us. You have to be willing to not only put the work in, like you said, because it is an active membership.
Mm-hmm.
We do everything that we can on our side, but there is things that are required of our members, which requires leadership, discipline, consistency. We're going to help you along the way, but you also have to have an abundance mindset to realize the opportunities are endless.
Absolutely.
And you have to think of it that way in order to have a good back and forth and good relationship for a long time for our members.
Yeah. I try to teach my kids that and coach that is like mindset is everything. Expect good things. And I said it on a recent podcast where Bob was tired of just hearing no. Like, how can I say yes? I know others are saying yes. I just need to figure out how. So we are here to say yes and help you say yes, but you have to take the first step. So those mindset shifts are be decisive. Don't sit in indecision. No is a decision and that's fine. But yes is a decision too. Be decisive, have discipline versus just letting emotion lead, and take real ownership of your future. So I love these. Eric, thank you so much for being here and for sharing from your awesome experience. And like I said, you've just become such an asset, and anyone who is already working with you or who gets to work with you is super lucky. We don't necessarily have it where you can come in and pick the coach you get to work with. But I bet if we did, a lot of people would pick you. Yeah. So, luck of the draw. But Doc, we hope you enjoyed this. If you have not gone through our discovery process, we have a form you can fill out that you don't even have to have a meeting with us. You can fill out our quick form on our website, put in your numbers. We will send you back an estimate of your tax savings and a video walking you through our membership and how we help, even showing you some of our member results so you see how real it is. So if you haven't taken that step, go fill out the form. Eric, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Erin. It's a pleasure.
Of course. Thanks for listening. Hit subscribe. Come back next time. And until then, go be a wealth maverick.